Welcome to the Embrace the Face podcast, where we celebrate all things weird and wonderful. I'm Allie Anderson, your host, here to bring you high vibe content and interviews for your highest good in self-healing and ascension. May these episodes bring you all you need in each now, and I thank you for listening, as always. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about current events going on in the world, Aquarius season, and what it means to remain grounded, connected, protected, resilient, and most importantly, flowing throughout life when things can seem a little bit chaotic and just fearful. And this is something that normally I provide high vibe content and interviews, of course, but I also don't want to pretend like nothing is going on in the world. And as somebody who, one, has not watched the news since the beginning of the pandemic, I pride myself on not having the news on, and I don't remain naive to the world. Like, I'm always in different ways seeing what's going on in the world, or I hear vicariously through my husband, who is very into current events and politics. And it's just something that I feel needs to be spoken about. And how can I help? My podcast really is about helping you to self-heal and ascend and to, of course, have fun in life and flow and be that inner child version of you, that highest timeline version of you, that multidimensional version of you. But really, when it comes down to it, we are spiritual beings having this human experience. And a lot of humans right now, I feel, are frozen in fear. And I want to kind of touch on that and talk about that and just help to guide you guys a little bit. So, first of all, thank you so much for those of you who are listening in. I did just surpass 100 episodes. So I shared very vulnerably. My statistics and my data are not really that exciting. I'm not monetized on here. So every review, every comment, every listen really helps. And I continue to show back up after 3 years, not consistently, but typically as of late, I have been doing weekly episodes. And it's something that I really look forward to. It's, as a human projector, I'm able to kind of word vomit my channeled thoughts and things that I pray before I record that I want humanity to hear. I always ask God, source, universe, spirit, I always ask for them to guide me and via my throat chakra to allow me to channel the messages for the highest good of you and all of humanity, of course. So as a triple Aquarius, it is Aquarius season. You know, usually I'm like, woo, joking about it, but I have to be honest. So the planetary shifts, the planetary alignment, the just overall collective consciousness, the shift in the ascension of Mother Gaia from one dimension to another, it can make a human feel like their world is what is reality, right? And so if you've been feeling it, and I've noted that a few friends in my spiritual community, as well as other healers, light workers, are sharing publicly that besides what's going on in the world right now, energetically, this is a really heavy time. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot going on with the weather. There's a lot going on just collectively as a humanity, but in the stars and the skies, that is truly, I feel, when I'm not feeling okay within, or when the world is not okay, I'm like, what is going on in the sky? What is going on with the planets and the stars? Why do I do that? It's a soul calling, first of all. Second of all, our ancient ancestors relied on it and survived on it. And although, you know, there are sects of humanity that will discount astrology, I do like to remind myself that the energies are not always me, that it is collective, that it's literally written in the stars. So now that we're in Aquarius season, currently there are 5 planets that are sitting in Aquarius, which is the sun, obviously, because we're in Aquarius season. We have Venus, Mars, Mercury, and Aries as well. Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus, the disruptor, the rebellion, the one who is not afraid to think outside the box, and the one who is not afraid to fight and stand up for humanity when in need. Now, there are ways to go about it. You can, of course, be physically present, whether you are professionally or personally present. For example, in Minneapolis, if you're someone who feels the need to go and protest, then by all means go and protest, but you're taking that chance, right? You are putting your physical body into an environment that you may not walk out of. And that's something that you have to accept and be okay with. And there's also ways of doing it, not physically in person. There's ways of helping to make a difference in this world. And as an Aquarius or just a human in this world, you want to help, right? And I personally feel helpless. I personally know people who work in law enforcement, specifically in Homeland Security and HSI. We have been hearing stories and just, hearing things from different points of view without judgment, sans judgment, that non-duality, right? There are a lot of people in fear. There are people in fear on the workforce front, and there are people in fear on the community front. And so what can we do as a humanity to feel like we are playing a part, but also, more importantly, to live your life in that flow state without it consuming you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, without it causing you to miss out on the things that are right in front of you that you can still continue to be grateful for. I think that a lot of people in humanity, and it's not a bad thing, it's what makes us human, again, to be able to feel that sense of empathy. And if you're listening, odds are you are empathic, which means if you've taken my psychic challenge, you are aware that empathy means you feel the emotions of others, like literally feel. You can feel what they're going through. You can feel that pain and that heartache and that suffering. And Buddha will tell you the first rule of life is that life is suffering. And if you look astrologically at Neptune now being in Aries, so I talked about how Aquarius is ruled by the rebellion, right? The disruptor. And now we have Neptune in Aries for the next 13, 14 years. And we're coming out of that illusion of dream state and Pisces. However, with Neptune now being in Aries, it's like, okay, that's fire, right? Fire, Aries ruled by Mars, fire. What is going to happen? We're in Aquarius, disruption, rebellion. And those people who are not afraid to protest, those people who are not afraid to stand up for their rights, whether or not in that now they were grounded, connected, protected, consciously present, making sound decisions based on their soul's, their free will, essentially, their soul's mission in this life. If that's technically a martyr, right? And dating back to ancient times, some of my favorite goddesses, Thecla and Perpetua, and patron saints, not even just goddesses in my mind, patron saints, literally, that these women sacrificed their lives for what they believed in. And I have often stated, and I have done QHHT, so quantum healing hypnosis technique, where I've gone into a past life of being a victim of martyrdom and being executed for it as a woman just for having beliefs. And this has happened in multiple lifetimes as I've gone under hypnosis. And if you're not familiar with Dolores Cannon's QHHT, it's evidence-based, decades and decades worth of studies of people experiencing these, parallel or past life traumas that they have to work on in this lifetime. So people who are so passionate about what they believe in, they are willing to go that far. And unfortunately, the way of our world right now is very much of a threat state, that fear state ran by ego. And that is that fire, that Mars, that Aries, that total just destruct energy, literally coinciding with the Civil War era of 1860s. We are in that same energy. The last time that the Neptune was in Aries, it was in 1860s to 1870s. And so think about about that time period. Humans were literally owned. They were slaves. There was war, a civil war fought amongst our own people. So even though there's shit going on in the Middle East and in Israel and Gaza, and we have so things going on in Africa and just everywhere, there is something going on. But when it hits home, when it hits your country, when it hits your state, when it hits your city, when it hits your community, when it really hits close, that's when you have to really ask, as a human, the spiritual being having a human experience, how can I help? But more importantly, how can I remain resilient? And when you remain resilient and in flow, that's that nervous system state, the parasympathetic nervous system state of rest, digest, and recovery. It's not to say that these things are not going to happen, that these externals are not actually occurring. So I'm not going to lie. Like my husband and I, we talk all the time about being prepared for an apocalypse, being prepared for a civil war. How so? Stocking up on supplies that are needed and necessary. This is something that I have seen in my mind's eye and had visions and prophecies about for the longest time. And I've always had this mentality of we must be ready. That's in physical, like nutrition and of course, first aid and medications and supplies and non-perishables and everything that you need. But also when it comes down to your physical health. Are you physically fit to be able to literally go into battle if you need to as a civilian? Are you mentally and emotionally sound and stable? Are you heart-centered? Or are you going to react at the drop of a dime because of your fury and passion? And are you going to put yourself into a situation that ends up being unsafe or even fatal? And unfortunately, I feel like that's what happens. We have these humans who are just so passionate to make a difference, to stand up for other humans, to just want to be that one that can, like, you know, make that big change, that can segue humanity from the darkness into the light, that can alchemize it all. But you can't do it if you put yourself into a place of being unsafe, being in a direct threat, right? So my background being in mass casualty trauma and incidents, like MCI triage, like those tags are no joke. In mass casualty incidences, this is what I trained for in my career. This is what people train for in their careers, unfortunately, to be prepared. Everyone is a human. Yes, we have these modalities and things to help prepare us and guide us, but it's all blown to shit right now, right? Like nothing is making sense. Nothing is cohesive. There's no cohesive plan. It's like it's all trial and error. Everything's being made up as everyone goes along. Policy and procedures are always made up as things go along, as things happen, because these things are unprecedented. But they're really not, because this is just history repeating itself, which is the whole idea why we send our kids to public school, right? To learn not to have history repeat itself. So what can you do, right? At home, you can meditate. And I know, let me laugh at Ali, like she's always talking about meditation. However, I have literally been pretty much a daily meditator since 2018. And if I go a day or two without meditating for whatever reason, I feel it literally in my nervous system. There's a reason why I have my altar in my living room. There's a reason why I have, you know, crystals and incense going all the time, crystals in every room. And I have the way that my life is set up the way that it is because everything is sacred to me. Everything can be a sacred ceremony. You don't have to be in a church to pray. You don't have to be, you know, in the gym to work out. You can have everything where you need it in visualization. Like across my living room has all my basic workout equipment. Why do I do that? Because I have my yoga mat. I can stretch out on my yoga mat. I can do my sun salutation. I can move if I need to. If I'm feeling like I have pent up anger or energies like that are of the collective. If you are somebody who watches the news, stop watching the news. Shut the news off. Yes, I was talking with a friend today and she actually made a really good point that, and she's very self-aware. She is, she knows that what you subject yourself to is going to feed your nervous system. So she was saying that she just turns it on for a little bit just so that she can be on the up and up and then turns it off. And I'll get like things here and there in the car on the radio. Or my husband, like I said, who's very always up and up on what's going on in the world. I'm not naive, but I don't subject myself to the news because I feel it in my nervous system. So if you are somebody who does this, I mean, and there are famous people who have reported that they stopped watching the news and like within a month, you know, they had a completely different nervous system. This is very true. If you don't allow yourself not to experience cutting yourself off from propaganda and media, because it's just feeding your brain. It's not you. It's your brain. It's that tool in your brain, that computer, those microchips, whatever you want to call it. I tell my kids all the time, like, your subconscious brain is like the hard drive of your computer. And then what you feed your computer is going to literally train and engrave into the subconscious. So if you are constantly just feeding yourself with this high alert tragedy, fear mongering, or just technically visualizing and seeing or hearing the reality of our humanity in this current moment and these current nows, of course your nervous system is going to be on the fritz. Of course you're not going to feel safe, even if you're nowhere even near where Minneapolis is, even if you're nowhere near Israel and Gaza, even if you're nowhere near anything that is occurring in our world. What you don't have in your face will eventually not even become an ailment to the nervous system. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you can be, if you note things like you're holding your breath, you're clenching your jaw, you're in your head, and all of a sudden you look down and you're like, wait, where did the last 20 minutes go? If you're just like a walking, I don't even know what to say, like a walking frenzy, those are signs that like you need to take a step back. If you're constantly looking at your phone, if you're taking your phone and constantly looking for updates on the news or social media or whatever it is, like, these are signs. And I hate to say it because I love humanity, like, but some of us need to wake up. Some of you need to realize that the dis-ease that you are experiencing may very well be to the amount of propaganda and media that you consume. My nervous system thanked me very, very much, many times in my life, for doing things that are, you know, widely looked at as weird. But my nervous system thanks me so, so much. And yours probably will too. And nobody says that you don't have to be naive to what's going on in the world. You can still be passionate. You can still make a difference. But just do your brain, your heart, your lungs, since you're like constantly probably holding your breath, do your entire body, mind, soul a favor and just take a break from the media. And I have clients who I work with who I always tell clients, you know, cut out what you know may be hindering your healing or growth spiritually. And a lot of people recognize that social media is a trigger. The news is a trigger. And these are things that if we just pay attention to and, you know, take breaks from, and then we notice the positive side effects of taking a break from whatever that habit is, then odds are you're not going to want to return to that habit. Or if you do, it's not going to be as pleasurable. It's not going to be the same. I guarantee you, if you give yourself like a 2-month break from any media, like even just the news, you don't have to take a break from social media. Take a break from your local news channels, even like the morning shows and the evening talk shows. Like, just take a break from them and see how you feel, body, mind, soul. See if there's any differences. And I would love to hear from you if you are somebody who does this. And I would love to hear how you feel after, because it doesn't again take away from what's going on in the world. It's just a way to help you to flow through what is occurring. Other things that you can do is focus on good nutrition and exercise. So like I said, just having your exercise equipment readily available. You don't even really need exercise equipment. Just go out for a walk every day. Put your sneakers on and go for a walk. And if you know Legally Blonde from the 90s, you know that, or early 2000s, you know that happy people just don't kill people, because people who exercise, they induce endorphins, and endorphins make people happy, and happy people just don't kill people. That's the whole idea, right? So you want to make sure that you are staying in a not a regimented routine, but that you're constantly moving and that you are constantly in motion, because that is energy. Energy is always in motion and never ceases to not exist. So we are forever moving particles. So if you feel like you need to move your body, move your body. If you feel like energy is stuck, move your body. And if you need little pointers on what you can do each day, please feel free again to reach out to me and I will be more than happy to help guide you. So other things that you can do is journal. So of course I have my 2026 astrological planner and journal where it's upside down, where I do journal the daily tap-in pages. This is evidence-based for everything that you need to get out on paper to kind of just summarize everything in a nutshell, from what you're grateful for, your emotions, what your dreams were. Your dreams can dream state, as we're astral traveling, where dream state can be subconscious messages of things that we need to work on. I always ask for God, source, universe before I go to bed to please send me messages of what I need to know. And if there's anything in particular that I ever have to ask, I just ask. And usually and typically I get an answer in my dreams. And if you are somebody who also is going through, you're feeling the shifts of humanity and the ascension, and you're just feeling all the energy, you might note that your sleep is a little bit chaotic lately, that your dreams may be a little more lucid. And this has been happening to me as well. So pay attention if you can. And then just prioritizing your day and your self-care. What is important to you for your healing, for your not only healing and ascending in your own life, but helping humanity, being of service, because that's what makes the world go round. I also, if anybody's interested, I'm sharing this because I appreciate this so much. I started the Kaizen Challenge. So those of you who are not familiar with the Kaizen Challenge, it's been around for a really long time. Like Reiki, it is an ancient Japanese philosophy of constant improvement, that every day is an opportunity to improve. And it says Kai on the front, Kaizen. Kai is change, Zen is good. And it says it's not about being invincible, it's about being unstoppable. And you can most certainly be unstoppable if you take that time to shut off the mind, open the heart, and figure out and ask your guides and your angels and your ascended masters and the light beings, your interdimensional light beings of the High Council and the Galactic Federation, whomever you look to for guidance, if it's even just God and Jesus, whoever you look to. Just ask. Ask what your mission here on this earth is. Ask what you are meant to do. How just as you open that heart, putting one hand on the heart, another on the belly, wherever you want to put it, breathing 3 times, and just simply asking, how can I help humanity today? How can I help to make a difference for the highest good today? What does Spirit have in store for me in this now? What decision should I make in this now for the highest good of myself and humanity? That is a way to help and to make a difference without being at ground zero of every single thing, every harrowing event that is occurring in our world. And I say this to people even in Minneapolis, like, if you can take little moments throughout each and every day to keep yourself grounded, to ground yourself, to ground, connect, and protect, to have your angels and guides protecting you, even though they always are, but just to give you that feeling of more safety, to work on remaining grounded in your body, because people who are living there are going through serious trauma. They're going through trauma in the now, and they're going to be suffering from PTSD, and they're going to need that somatic help, that somatic energetic healing to help them process and accept and release all of this grief and trauma that they're experiencing. Things such as meditation, silly little things such as exercising, what a chore it seems to be, things such as journaling that everyone loves to roll their eyes at. These things work. I think one of the biggest things that I can recommend, especially as a triple Aquarius, somebody who normally will get those like winter blues, seasonal affective, this is the first winter that I've actually felt pretty good. Like I felt like I'm maintaining my vibe, I guess. I'm not really like dipping down low into any depression or anything. And I think it's because I prioritize moving my body. I think it's because I'm really focusing on how to remain resilient, because as somebody who already is a psychic medium intuitive, who already feels the collective energies, and if you followed me long enough or you know my work, you know that I truly do feel, I see clairvoyantly, and I feel, hear, smell. I don't usually taste. Taste is like very rare for me, but I pretty much am an open channel and feel the heaviest and darkest and deepest of humanity, that rape, murder, suicide, that hate. Just, I feel all of that so much so. So it's a constant for me to remain a clear channel, to remain, not an absorbing sponge of everybody's energies. So it's really important to me to express to others how just important grounding and meditation and just movement are, because it makes you feel safe in your body. It reminds you that despite what you're going through, as scary as it may be, that you are safe, that you are not alone, and that you can kind of just keep moving while not in that state of fight, flight, or freeze, which I don't really think that anybody's in the fawn state right now, like trying to people please. I think people are kind of waking up out of that and being like, no more, standing my ground and speaking my truth. And that's another thing about Neptune being in Aries, that this is like that coming out of the closet, that spiritual closet of like, right now it's coming to me of like the coming of Jesus, like whether you believe that Jesus himself is coming or you believe that Jesus is within you and that the resurrection actually is within you, that this is the time to come out of that shell, to break out of that shell, to really own your multidimensional power. And if you want to go as deep as talking about Jesus, about his multidimensional power and his healing power through his hands, through his mind, as well as through his words. Words are powerful. And if you continue to just speak kindness, not only to yourself, but to other humans, then you will begin to see your whole world shift. And it really is true. And we cannot control right now, in this now, the egos, the minds controlling our world. And of course, how could I forget to mention this? Albert Einstein. I've read many of his works, including The World as I See It. And last night I was looking through for something to watch. I was folding laundry and I wanted to watch something, and I was looking through Netflix, and all of a sudden the movie about Albert Einstein and the atomic bomb comes up on my screen. And I have not seen this I've seen the movie before, maybe a few years ago whenever it came out, but I haven't seen it on my screen in a very long time. So of course I watched it. It's only like an hour and 12 minutes or something, but it is very much so reminiscent of his book, The World as I See It, because that is a book of a compilation of his letters, his words, his quotes, his everything, as was this movie. So it was kind of pretty much on point, it seemed. And the movie really focused on his life. But my point that I'm trying to make is that Albert Einstein had said that if he knew that the Germans hadn't the ability to make the atomic bomb, that he never even would have put his hands in it. All he did in 1905 was create a theory, right? A theory. Why I'm pinpointing the word theory is because so many people out there want to help. They have theories. They have ideas of how they want to help. And Albert Einstein, at the end of his life, felt so guilty, felt so much shame and guilt and recourse for how the ego, the man, how the ego and the power trips took it so far. He never thought that nuclear power would be seen in his lifetime. And had he even thought that Germany didn't have a chance of building that bomb, then he never would have joined the Manhattan Project. And a lot of Albert Einstein, besides his physicist work, was in politics, being a militant pacifist, where he firmly believes in fighting for peace. No like militant no military necessary, no wars necessary. He believed that if there was just like one world government, that is how it should be. And that he had said back in, I think, just after World War II, sometime between then and 1955, he was quoted several times as saying that the way that this world is going, it's going to be destructive. And because of egos, because of power, because of control. And that is now what we're seeing in this age of Aquarius, in Neptune being in Aries in Aquarius season. And with that being said, there's so many things that you can do as a human to maintain being grounded, which is most important, because who are you going to be to your family, right? Who are you going to be to your friends and yourself? Like, you yourself deserve to still continue to be grateful. There's no need to feel guilty about being grateful for what you have when our world is pretty much like a dumpster fire right now globally. And there's no reason that you can't continue to talk about happy things, to do things that make you happy, to be laughing and being joyous. And yes, there's so much going on in our world, but you have to remember that you are also here to feel as well. And you deserve to feel joy despite the evil, despite the darkness, despite what may seem so impossible. Like, our world is never going to be the same. Everybody just needs to kind of understand that. Like, I think everybody wants to go back. Oh, I want to go back to the way it was before the pandemic. Oh, I want to go back to the way it was before Trump. Like, there is no going back. It is what it is. And this is how we have to live right now. And if you want to make a change, you have, like, I think I said in the last new moon of Cancer, was it Cancer or Capricorn? In Capricorn, the last new moon, that literally it was like a dividing fork. Which path are you going to take? I would say take the path. It doesn't matter how long the path is, how short the path is, whether there's least resistance or not. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Are you going to take the path of your highest self or not? Because your highest self holds the frequency of being the savior of humanity in your own unique blueprint way. Nobody else can do it like you. Nobody else can do it. We've never done it before. It's going to be so great if you just take that freaking path of your highest timeline and you remember who you are. So if you have any questions, how you can help to really ease your fears, to bring yourself back into your body, to remember who you are, to feel grounded, connected, protected, to feel in flow, body, mind, and soul, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I do have all my services available on my website. I have digital courses with guided meditations, and a lot of my YouTube uploads have guided meditations. So anything that I can do for those who are feeling as though they're quite simply drowning, because a lot of people are. They feel like they're drowning in fear. And I'm here to kind of just, I guess, be the calm in that storm, to remind you that there is still peace and beauty and joy in this world, and that we will overcome. But it's gonna feel a whole lot easier and a whole lot lighter and brighter if you don't dig yourself into a hole and continue to crawl down these rabbit holes that are not doing you any service nor humanity. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Peace out and God bless.